and welcome to Check Out This Guy. This is the podcast where we flip over a rock and what's under there? Oh wow! It's some guys. I'm Emory. My pronouns are they, she, he.
Hi, I'm Spike, and just be respectful.
And we have a guest this week. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Hello. I'm RD. Pronouns are they, them, and I exist. Sadly.
Don't we all?
Yeah.
Isn't that just the state of being these days?
Oh. No, like I'm having the best existence right now, so I'm sorry.
My existence is like a solid 5 out of 10, 6 out of 10.
Mine's better than average, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
So yeah, RD, what have you come here to tell us about? Why don't you introduce our topic for this week?
Okay, my topic for this week, I actually had like 2 topics in mind when I originally signed up for this. One was like a little warm-up thing where I would like talk about what makes an OC and what is the line between OC and like acknowledged fictional character. Like technically Spider-Man is an OC. You know, talk about this kind of stuff. The other is just talking about this comic idea I had in my head for like a very long time and just rambling about a bunch of the characters I had for as long as I possibly could without annoying you too.
Yeah, no problem. I mean, on the first topic, my opinion is there is no difference.
Yeah.
It's OCs all the way down. When it all comes down to it, everything is just a guy someone made up. That's every character, if you think about it.
Yeah, I mean, there is a character named Herlock Sholmes.
That's so true.
In my experience, I think
In actual, like, professional work. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, something like that. Like, in my experience, the line people draw between, oh, that's a real fictional character and that's an OC is whether or not it made money. And that seems to be the only difference in my experience. Because, like, 50 Shades of Grey, that's fucking fan fiction. Everyone knows about that. I'm not blowing anyone's minds about that. But people still talk about it like it's legitimate fiction. They degrade it or, like, talk shit about it, but they still talk about it on the level of, okay, this is like a legitimate book or a legitimate movie. The reason is because it made money.
Once again, capitalism determines every facet of our lives.
Sadly.
Yeah. I mean, like, ultimately, the only difference is a cultural aspect of how the audience views it.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, capitalism has a way of validating the things that are profitable and crushing everything else.
Now, I want to share something from the Transformers fandom, though.
Oh, let's go.
One specific thing is, there is a character in Transformers now named Rung. Totally canon character. There's toys of him now. The whole 9 yards. They were originally one of the author's OCs that they wrote fanfiction with.
That's fucking awesome.
Oh, hell yeah.
When he became a professional writer for the brand, he put his OC in the story.
God, if they ever give me the keys to Sonic the Hedgehog, you know it's just gonna be depressed trans bitches left and right.
Yes.
Yeah. Like, I'm trying to become a professional writer, like, in the future, and if I ever get to work on, like, a known property, which seems impossible, but there's always a chance, it's like, I'm just gonna make characters that I would have liked when I was, like, 15 or some shit like that. I don't care. As long as it's good.
Hell yeah, that's the way you fucking do it. Yeah, so unless we have any more on that, why don't you tell us about this comic you're working on?
Yeah, unfortunately, we all seem to agree on the topic.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, no, I think you nailed it. I think capitalism is the one what influences people's
Yeah.
opinion on the thing.
Uh-huh.
Big plot twist, it was capitalism all along. Let's go to
Mm-hmm.
Pull off the Scooby-Doo mask. Capitalism?
Yeah.
so the comic. I don't want to say its name because I want to like reveal the name when when it's actually real. That's like a personal goal of mine. So no name.
Yeah, understandable.
Also, like, speaking of capitalism, trademark that shit.
So the best way to explain the comic is that the comic takes place in 3 parts. I'm today just going to talk about the characters in part 1. And each part is about a different group of protagonists who go on a journey that can be personal or a literal journey throughout the comic and learn stuff about themselves, what their issues are, how to be better humans. And all of that is framed in my veneer of what I think would be cool in an action comic that has a bunch of shonen shit.
Mm-hmm.
Hell yeah. We do love action shonen bullshit in our serious character focused work. I think that's peanut butter and chocolate to me.
Yeah.
I love like grounded emotional stuff with just like ridiculous bullshit going on all around. I'm very excited to hear about this.
So I can contain this and not ramble on for like fucking forever. I'm just going to talk about part 1 characters, and so that it's fun for you too. I have like in my notes like a list of all the names of major characters from part 1. I'm just like gonna share those notes in like the guest channel on the Discord, and you two can choose a character name, a name that you think is funny or interesting, and I'm just gonna ramble about them.
Okay.
All right, let's go.
Sounds like a plan. Oh boy.
Long list.
Here we go.
Discord preview on this is very teeny tiny, so I'm just gonna download this quick.
This is colorful.
Yeah, I made it colorful so I know that like these groups of characters are in a group. Also in brackets, I didn't come up with the names first. I only came up with their concept and what their deal is. So in the brackets is like what I have them in my head, and beside them is the name I randomly thought up because they need names. That's kind of prerequisite. Also, if you don't know how to pronounce the name, I don't either.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just scanning this list here, and I'm curious to know about Tube Kid.
Oh, I accidentally shared the screenshot for part 2, but you know what? Fuck it, I can improvise. Okay,
let's go.
Tube Kid is one of the protagonists in part 2 of the comic. The first 2 parts take place in 2 cities, West Town and East City. Tube Kid is the protagonist of the East City part of the comic. His deal is that he's part of this child soldier program, the second generation of that child soldier program, and he's been kind of brainwashed and has like a lot of issues because of that on what he thinks a person is or who he thinks he himself is. And one day he goes out on his first mission with his partner, who's also part of the same program, and the person he is tasked to like fucking apprehend and put in like jail and stuff. They beat him up. He gets obsessed with that person and like sneaks out of his camp and tries to find them. He finds that person, some shenanigans happen, and turns out that person is their mentor now, and now they're against the organization that made them, but also they don't know if they're really against them, and their entire story is about finding out who they really are and how they can be their best self.
Hell yeah.
So, Tube Kids, you're probably wondering why I named that character Tube Kid.
Yeah, that is a standout choice to me.
Okay. He's named Tube Kid because he has like little metal tubes out of part of his body. They're just like holes in his body. And what he does is he absorbs air and sound through them. And he absorbs air and sound through those tubes and can channel them through different holes. Like, one attack he has is...
Hell yeah.
One attack in, like, further on is he fights against a guy who does a lot of chaos and does a lot of noise. And at a certain point, he concentrates and absorbs all the noise around that guy. So all the chaos he creates, all the screams, all the noises, he absorbs them and, like, pretty much takes that guy out with one hit. Because it's all...
Nice. Just being like, okay, I'm just gonna eat your entire power. Yum yum, tasty snack.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna eat all the noise you make and make you deaf on 1 year. And yeah, pretty much their journey is about trying to find out who they are, how to be their best self, finding out that probably the people who raised him, like the organization who raised him, are kind of assholes and that he should not be on their side.
Yeah.
Very anti-authoritarian comic.
Yeah, no.
Purposefully.
Yeah.
Yeah, we love an anti-cop narrative.
I want to pick one, and I think I've already made this joke before, but if I have, I'm making it again. I'm picking slim old macho man Randy Savage, and I want to know why he is not Jim.
I didn't think of Jim. I didn't think I shared a screenshot before, and you made that same comment. I just didn't think of Slim. Jim.
I cannot see Slim and Macho Man Randy Savage together without just being, why not Jim?
I'm a filthy German who didn't grow up on that shit, so for me... No, those are part of the part 2 notes, and that's a character that appears in part 1, so I already like gave him a name, and his name is Mo Machizo, like machismo. Like Mo Machizo, machismo. It's kind of dumb. His deal is that he's themed after like Macho Man Randy Savage, but what if he was an old guy mentor? Like, what if he was like, looks like an 8-year-old guy and just walks around and is all wise and shit, but also when he like suplexes you, he tends to do the ooh yeah thing after that. While being like a 70-year-old man, and he's like buddies with another character and a monkey, and they're all part of a group, and he's kind of like the father figure of that group and guides along like
I since you're making the archetype Macho Man, is he a wife guy?
He was a wife guy, but that didn't work out for him. Like, Westtown is like on a new continent that was new in like apostrophes, like that's a big plot twist, but like he's on a new continent, and usually people on that new continent in Westtown are there to like flee where they were, to go to a new place because they left behind what they had, and part of what he left behind was his wife. They had a difficult relationship. It didn't work out. Which is sad, but he was able to move on eventually.
Yeah, now that you mentioned them, I do gotta know. Tell me about the monkey who is a little shit and has now 2 human hands.
Yeah. I'm just gonna say real quick. It seems like there's been a lot of hand swapping.
Oh yeah. Okay. The monkey is friends with another character named Tristo. In part 1, Tristo is like an not egomaniacal, but he has like a big ego because of like family trauma, sword guy. And he is real obsessed with being strong, like the idea of being strong in part 1. And because he has that complex, he decides to like do surgery where he switches his hand with that of a monkey. Because in the world of the comic, if you surgically attach the limb of another animal onto you, you get like a boost in power plus their ability. All animals have like an ability because they have a natural connection to the planet. Like birds in this world have the natural ability to just crank through little slits and just go through everything. Gorillas have bat abilities where if the gorilla like bangs on their chest, they create an echo and they can use it like a bat. That's like their natural ability. So you get that ability, and you get just like a natural boost in power because you artificially connect yourself with everything that connects the planet. And he did that so he can gain extra power. The thing is, the monkey tricked him and made it so that he also got his hand. And that usually doesn't happen. The way the monkey tricked him is that, like, the guy where he got surgery, the monkey faked a note that, like, said, give the monkey my hand. And when the surgeon asked him, hey, are you sure about this? Tristo was, like, being an ego dickhead and was like, yeah, do this. I'm not a coward about this, because he thought he was questioning him because he thought he was a coward. So it was this big understanding where, like, the monkey got his hand. And that's how they meet in part one.
Great.
They're like linked now, and the monkey has nowhere to go. In part two, Tristo goes through his entire character arc, and he's stuck in the jungle with Mo Machismo, and they're like on a big training arc in the time before the parts, in between the parts. They're in this big jungle and they're training, and they meet a gorilla. And Tristo is like, well, Macho Man has like, he like can do the surgery, right? Yeah, he can do the surgery. So I'll get like a gorilla hand because they're like bigger and stronger, and that's like a natural upgrade. The monkey fucking tricks them again and gets Tristo's second hand. The gorilla gets them all the monkey hands, and Tristo ends up with all the gorilla hands. So the monkey tricks them twice and ends up with 2 human hands. Because fuck it. Let's get the entire set.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
A classic switcheroo.
Yes. They got a match.
Now in part 2, a gorilla is part of the squad.
Mm-hmm.
This old man Macho Man Randy Savage sure seems like he's assembled a real band of freaks here.
Uh-huh.
Well, he didn't assemble them purposefully. Tristo, when you meet Tristo, he has like this little moment where he's like, I'm this epic guy. Then he gets his ass beaten to him and realizes he's a sucky guy. We follow him for a bit, and he's kind of fucking homeless. So he's like, let's just break into a home and make that my home, and because I'm strong, I can make this my home. So he breaks into Mo Machismo's home. Macho Man kicks his ass. He just fucking kicks it. And now they live together because he needs someone to clean his shit. And you just broke into my home, so I guess you're free help now.
So it seems like a recurring thing here is the Dragon Ball convention of when you kick someone's ass, they're your friend now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. Okay, I have to ask about the Magical Girl Mafia.
Oh yeah, they're fun. So the Magical Girl Mafia is exactly what it sounds like. It's a mafia. Oh, sorry, I banged to get my headphone. It's a mafia that is made of magical girls. Basically, they all have weapons. They use transform, and they wear like modern clothes that are like a modern clothes with a mix of magical girl stuff when they transform. So, like, one magical girl has, like, a switchblade, and they transform by pressing, like, the button on the switchblade, like, taking out the blade. And when they take out the blade, it's, like, this blue glowing blade. Mm-hmm. And when the blade comes out, this, like, magical girl transformation happens. And she's now in, like, a semi-magical girl outfit. But also, see, it's just, like, a switchblade on you. So, yeah, they're just a mafia that has, like, supernatural beginnings that dates back to, like, the gods of the lore of the comic, but they evolved from like an order of like godly knights into a mafia who are all magical girls. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just thought, wouldn't it be neat if magical girls were criminals? Wouldn't it be neat if Sailor Moon beat you up so she can collect her money from you?
Yeah, no. Give Sailor Moon like a baseball bat with nails through it.
This sounds like exactly what would happen if Sailor Moon did not have all these other sailors make her behave. This seems like this seems like it would be her natural state.
Yeah, what if it was all rowdy idiots with bad behavior?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, let's see. I gotta pick one now.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see.
While you pick, fun fact about the comic, each part takes place after a period of time. Part 2 takes place 10 years after part 1.
Okay. All right, tell me about Monster Maker Scientist.
Oh, where's the Monster Maker Scientist? Where do I...
Pretty far down the list, like second to last.
Oh yeah. Basically, the two kinds of forces Tube Kid fights are normal silver government people, and Monster Maker Scientist is the kind of guy who like makes experiments, and because Tube Kid teamed up with this other person, he basically has an excuse to test out his little experiment. He's kind of a libertarian, so he sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
But yeah, all scientists have like a weird relationship with like the government. It's not that there are multiple governments. That government, like all the cops are part of one government, and that government is called Silver. And almost all the scientists are pretty much in it for themselves. They're all like weirdly libertarian and are making what are essentially war crime machines consistently just for the sake of it, just for science, and they don't care who they make it for. Silver's just the one who grabbed them up.
When you said that this monster maker was a libertarian, I just thought like, oh, he's trying to create the ultimate being with the most amount of personal responsibility.
He's actually not the one that succeeds at that. That's another one.
Great.
Yeah. And the being is like a weird insect man.
An insect man who is immune to societal conditions and can simply make all the decisions in their life regardless of material conditions.
He can make like a big fist appear, so yeah, he can do that, I guess. But yeah, fun fact, Tube Kid had like a mother figure, and she was a scientist, and well, all the scientists, like most scientists, benefit from Silver scooping them up, but they also don't really have a choice. Silver's like, hey, you're a scientist who makes pretty good science. You're going to work for us, or you're going to live a shitty life where you get no funding. And she basically needed to join that program.
Just like real life.
Yeah, just like real life. And she basically joined that program and was like Tube Kid's mother figure. She tried to steer him in like the right direction, and at a certain point she just got taken away to like a different research station. And that's also part of the reason why Tube Kid doesn't have that much attachment to Silver. It's because he has more attachment to this mother figure who isn't really like the soldiers that he has to deal with on a daily basis. She actually has somewhat a sense of empathy.
Mm-hmm.
All right, my turn again.
Let's go. Yeah.
Okay, I'm obligated to ask this one. Catgirl who is not a cat.
I was waiting for that one. I thought that was going to be the first pick.
No, I think we had to build up to that one.
Yeah.
We all saw it.
Yeah.
We knew we were going to get there eventually.
Okay, Catgirl who's not a cat. She is the daughter of Anton, who is part of the protagonist group from part 1 of the comic. She's the protagonist of part 2 of West Town. She's the protagonist of that, and she's kind of the leader of the revolutionary army, of like a rebellion. Basically, after the events of part 1, Silver, the government, started to occupy West Town. West Town before that was a city that was built because a lot of traders basically found out that there's a perfectly usable port on this new continent, and they used that until a city built out of it, because people found that port, they stayed there for a few days before they brought their cargo to another place, so it naturally became a town without a government. Doesn't really have a government. In part 1, it's kind of run by the mob, not the magical mafia mob, like more stereotypical mob. So I can draw a distinction there. But yeah, it was basically a kind of governmentless town. They had some kind of government. It was weird. After the events of part 1, Silver basically occupied that town and put it in a shitty place. And in the 10 years in between part 1 and part 2, it basically became one of the shittiest places. Like just, they divided up the town. I say town, but it's like a gigantic thing. They divided up the town into districts via the usage of walls. they destroyed every local business, and every local business that succeeded needed to prioritize Silver's priorities. Silver is very homophobic, like, which is weird in that world because the way gay people in like that work in that world is that they're not really discriminated against. Silver is weird for doing that, which like hints at something later on in part 3. But yeah, they were kind of homophobic. They turned this place, which wasn't the best in part 1, into an even shittier place. And a lot of people don't like that. So a lot of people decided, hey, well, you gonna say something?
Oh, I was going to say just like things that happened in real life.
Yeah. So a lot of people didn't like that, and during the 10 years, in like the shadows, like rebellion form. And Catgirl, who's not a Catgirl, is like the leader, not the leader of the entire rebellion, because each district of the town has their own kind of version, but she's like the force that pushes everyone along. If a revolution had like a mascot, she would be it, kind of. And part of the reason for that is that she's just fucking insanely strong. Basically, her family from her father's side has this thing where at a certain age, a rash starts popping up on them, like black rash that looks demonic. And that black rash can occupy any part of the body. And one thing it also does, part of it takes form after an animal. And her animal is a cat. And the rash like takes over both of her arms, and she like grows out a hoodie, and that hoodie is a cat.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's like
when you say the hoodie is a cat, is it like a normal cat hoodie you would see with like the ears on the hood, or is it something different?
Oh, it's like
is it something more fucked up than that?
Imagine if a Catgirl hoodie was alive and like blinked sometimes.
Oh, that's what I was fucking hoping for. Let's go.
And she has like 2 modes. Everyone in her family has like 2 modes where they can focus where the animal is. So like part 1 of the mode is like just the hoodie is the animal. The other mode is where the animal is like her limb that's possessed. So when she switches into that mode, the like one hand is like the upper jaw of the animal and one hand is the downward jaw, and she like puts them together to like the little animal head when she like attacks with both hands. And it's like how you like imagine if you put like your hands together, how they're like teeth. Imagine if that were literal teeth and like one side of like the literal teeth of an animal.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and she like uses that when she does like a drill attack. She like spins with that thing, and like in the front of that drill is like the face of a cat that rotates.
Hell yeah.
Nom nom.
I want to go back to something a little bit earlier just to make a comparison. When you said she's like not the leader of the resistance, but kind of like an iconic figure there. That kind of reminds me of Luffy One Piece, where he's not like the leader of the pirates, obviously, but you know, he's kind of a figure that inspires people and that people sort of rally around, you know?
You know, one thing that's insane about the comic is One Piece is one of my favorite stories of all time. Like, it's very dear to my heart. I didn't put a lot of One Piece into it intentionally. Like, if you get any vibes from it, it's accidentally. And that, when for this episode, I kept thinking about like the process of making OCs, and I was weirdly surprised that like One Piece is one of my favorite stories, but I didn't try to incorporate a lot of stuff from that into it. That was kind of weird to me.
I mean, on stuff like that, you don't have to try. It'll just happen. I definitely find that, like, you know, if I'm coming up with something, like, you know, sometimes those, like, references will be very conscious and intentional. Sometimes it'll just be like, I'm looking at a thing that I made up months later, and it's like, oh, this is actually basically exactly the same as this one other really influential thing that I was not thinking about at the time.
I just made JoJo again.
That's just stuff just kind of sneaks in and lives in you, you know?
Yeah. Also, fun fact about her: she's a disaster bisexual.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yeah. Let's just say she has like weird romances because one of her romances is like this kid from like an aristocrat family, kind of, that like
Mhm.
left his family because he's a rebellious little shit and wants to join the rebellion, but also he's still like the kid of an aristocrat, but she kind of vibes with him, so it's this weird relationship.
Is this Zeto Kid?
Yeah, that's Zeto Kid.
We got a twofer.
Were you gonna ask Zeto Kid next?
Yes.
Yeah, it's pretty much what it sounds like. The Zeto family is like the family that sold out their way of sword fighting to Silver. So basically, Zeto is from a group of like people of like families that have all their own way of fighting with the sword. They betrayed their group of people so that they can be in beds with Silver and basically have their protection and be like an acknowledged family from an acknowledged family in the eyes of Silver. And they basically just gave them all the ways that they can fight with the sword. So the reason it's called Zeto is because a lot of the sword techniques that Silver soldiers use, like a lot of the intricate ones, like go like in a Z form. Like there's people who like throw their sword slashes, and every time they like throw their sword slashes, if they're like Silver, the slash just does a little Z form before it continues on.
Okay, so very Zorro coded.
Yeah. Yeah, and he basically is mad at his dad and is now dating the leader of the rebellion because I hate my dad.
Yeah, no, understandable.
Yeah. She also has a weird romance with Purple Woman. Purple Woman, you know what? I'm not going to explain Purple Woman if you want to.
Fair enough.
No, you can choose if you want me to explain Purple Woman. You can choose.
We can get to Purple Woman. I'm dying to know about Raven Guy.
Oh, Raven Guy. Where is he again? There are a lot of characters.
Associated with the rebellion, couple spaces above Zeto Kid.
Oh yeah, Raven Guy. Raven Guy is one of the security men of Kid X, and Kid X is from one of the original continents, and Kid X is like one of the continents has like three big powers that like hold the politics together. One is like a family that has existed for hundreds of years. One is Silver because they have influence everywhere, and one is just Kid X. Kid X holds part of the government because he's basically imagine if a kid was a nuclear bomb. That's what Kid X is. He is a nuclear bomb, so he automatically holds a lot of government space, but he also is just a kid. And he somehow got people together. Like the people who are like under Kid X are like almost all the people he has in his like government in air quotes. He's just a guy who lives like in a house, but because he's a nuclear bomb, he like is like a political figure. He's a kid. And Raven Guy is one of his bodyguards. Raven Guy is pretty chill, like very chill dude. He has like cloak that like looks like a raven cloak. Like, you know, it looks like raven feathers. He also has like two scythes.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, two scythes that have like chains that go into the coat, and they are like very long. And one thing he can do is he can himself turn into a raven. So like he like twists the coat around and goes into his coat, and then the coat itself transforms into a raven. And he just flies around.
Hell yeah. That rules.
Yeah. He also has a sword in there, but that's not important until like part 3.
Uh-huh. Yeah, no, it's like, yeah, I do have a sword, but also check out this really stupid and practical weapon that I like more.
Yeah, that's basically it. The reason he has the sword is because like his dad taught him how to use it, but he likes using the scythes more.
Yeah. I would too.
Yeah, they're fucking scythes.
They're like handy scythes, like ones you can like just hold in your hand, and they're a chain, so you can just swing them around. And he has fun doing that.
Yeah, it sounds like fun.
Yeah, very chill guy.
Nice.
Well, he has a good outlet.
Yeah.
Well, I accidentally did 2 in a row, so Emory, please go for another one.
Yeah, why don't you tell us about Purple Woman?
Okay, Purple Woman is fun. Purple Woman is very fun. Alright, so Purple Woman is originally a character from part 1 of the comic. And in part 1 of the comic, Tristo and another character take up the mantle of Purple Man. The other character takes up the title of Purple Man because one week they thought, well, being a superhero must be really cool, or something like that. So I'm just gonna get like a purple coat, and because I'm the dipshit sometimes, I'm just gonna call myself Purple Man. Tristo takes up that mantle so he can rob someone. And during like this little arc where they're like both Purple Man, the character that becomes Purple Woman becomes enamored with them. They're like, oh my god, it's this vigilante who does cool shit. I love them. I'm like their number 1 fan. In part 1, Purple Woman is a trans woman. So in part 1, they're like pre-transition. They're like an 8-year-old kid. In part 2, they're a woman. So it's like this thing where this purple figure appears, but it's Purple Woman because they transitioned and took up the title. The reason she took up the title is because Thriller was occupying and she felt that she needed to be the hero that stepped up and needed to help people. So she just got like a purple cloak, not a cloak, it's just like a cloth, just like a long purple cloth, just put it over herself and boom, she's Purple Woman.
Nice.
Yeah, and her way of fighting is like a magic form of judo. So like the way she fights, like everyone is like connected for like aura, like this energy that flows through everything, and they can channel it, create their own. And her form of fighting is so she can just like grab the aura and throw it, this like invisible force. So she can literally like grab the air and judo throw it, and know the air that's like concentrated aura is just gonna fucking fly at you.
Hell yeah.
Okay. Okay. How about the child of the robot?
Oh, the child of the robot is interesting. So,
but not the robot.
Not the robot. So, not the robot, the child.
Yeah, I only picked the child of the robot.
Only pick the child, not the robot. No.
Yeah. It's like I don't care about this mask guy. I want to know about the son of the mask.
That's what you picked for that?
I haven't seen either of those movies. It just came
I've
to mind.
seen Son of the Mask more than the original for some reason.
Let's go.
Oh god.
So, okay, so one of the protagonists in part 1 is kind of a robot. It is a robot, and the way that their part of the story ends is like, you know how like when a robot gains human consciousness in a story, they like take away the hopeful stuff, so the hopeful shit from humanity, and it's like, I am going to be cheerful about having a conscience, like that kind of stuff. That's like the typical way this goes. The way their story ends is they take away all the bad shit. Like, oh man, having a conscience is shit, and I hate everything, and I am awful, and like all the bad shit you could take away from like gaining a consciousness as a robot. And they like get really fucking depressed in between parts, and they like don't know what to do with their life. So they steal what is essentially the second version of themselves. Like, they steal that from Silver. They're developing their own robots to use it like weapon. And he steals one and, like, uploads a version of the program into it that caused him to, like, develop a conscience to, like, see if he's the only solution to this. If, like, he doesn't use he pronouns. It's a robot. It doesn't acknowledge gender. It uses its pronouns because it just doesn't acknowledge gender. It's a robot.
Why would you?
Yeah, it's a robot. It doesn't have fucking gender. But yeah, it uploads the program that caused consciousness into the next form and basically wants to see if it develops like itself did. It doesn't. It takes away a more hopeful impression from humanity and, like, turns out that it finds the reason why you should be a good person. Why it's okay to be a good person, why you should be a good person, that the original robot couldn't find. And, you know, why it's okay to live and all that other shit.
Is this why nihilists have children in general?
You know that you say
Seems like they wouldn't.
No, I'm sorry, like, I'm over here. Oh, this is gonna sound bad, but I'm gonna still say it. But I'm over here thinking of Data from Star Trek and the fact that his creator gendered him and gave him a functioning penis.
Yeah, why you give your robot?
Why the hell would you do that?
Why would you curse your robot with gender?
Fucking exactly.
Wait, hold up. We're going on a tangent here, but hold up. There is a point where Data creates a child. The very first thing he does is lets the child pick their gender.
Hell yeah.
Aw, that's nice.
I wonder if there's a reason why he did that.
Yeah, I wonder. Damn, I wonder if there's a sort of any lingering sort of feelings that influenced that decision.
Yeah, I guess that's more for your other podcast.
True. Oh, there's so much Star Trek. There's a lot of it.
So much. And they keep on making more. Okay, I've obviously ruined this discussion now.
You haven't.
Yeah, do we want to do one or two more and then wrap up? We're getting close to the top of the hour.
Okay, one or two more. I'm down.
All right. I gotta know about Trick Boomin.
Trick Boomin. He's great. Trick Boomin is also a character originally in part 1, and he's a communist fucking kid. He hates Silver. He's all about the revolution. That's when he's like 7 years old. He's all about the revolution, all about, hey, let's all rise up against the shitty government. Then in between parts, you see Trick Boomin again, and he works for the government. He's like a high-ranking agent, and you're like, what the fuck? What happened to Trick Boomin? Did that happen to him? What every conservative says, that when you grow up, you become a conservative? No, haha, actually not. He's actually a spy for an army that wants to take out Silver and infiltrated their ranks.
Hell yeah, let's go.
Good for him.
Yeah, he's like an undercover spy. And every time you see him in the comic, it's like a pastiche of like James Bond shit. Not James Bond, just like general spy shit. I went James Bond. I've seen like one James Bond movie and I don't remember it.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
But yeah, it's just like general like spy pretending who you are shit. And he fucking hates it. Like every time you like see like a thinking bubble, it's like, oh man, I would rather get kicked in the nuts than like say yes sir to these pigs.
All right. Let me pick the nice people from the gym.
Okay, the nice people from the gym. They're a group of people in the East City part of part 1. In part 2, they open up a facility in West Town, which is nuts because Silver's occupying them, but somehow they manage it because they're just so nice, they're just so efficient as gym people. And they're basically just a bunch of nice gym people. That type of gym has like a philosophy, and that philosophy is about how you need to constantly better yourself because that's the only way you can achieve a good existence. And they're just nice people who want to help anyone else because helping someone else is part of developing yourself. If you help someone else, you develop your morals, and your morals are just as important as your pectoral muscle.
Hell yeah, hell yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They're very much inspired from the nice buff people from Up Psycho 100.
I was just about to say, reminds me of the Mob Psycho Club.
What if their niceness was a philosophy?
Yeah, I was the same over here, but I was trying to not point it out.
That was intentional. That was fucking intentional.
Okay.
You can call it out.
Yeah, okay.
I was just like, man, I like these nice buff people. What if there was a gym full of them?
Yeah. Gosh, we can wrap up soon, but just the more I'm hearing about this, the more I am just like, wow, this is kind of One Piece with it, complimentary, just like a bunch of freaks fighting fighting kind of a horrible, ubiquitous authority organization.
Yeah,
it's some good shit.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell that I do not like authority?
Understandable.
Yeah.
Who does, really?
The people in charge.
Yeah.
True. It's the boot wearers and the bootlickers that like authority.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. When I started thinking about the comic, I never thought, oh, I'm gonna make it anti-authoritarian. That was never an explicit goal from the start. It was just like, okay, I thought up this character. What journey could they go on? And for me, a good journey is always becoming your best self. And okay, who are going to be the rivals of people who want to find out who they are to be their best selves? What is the opposite of someone trying to learn and become better? The opposite of that is a regressive militaristic government.
Mm-hmm. Hell yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, all right. Any final thoughts before we wrap up and go to plugs?
My final thought is fuck the government. That's the final thought.
Fuck it. Fuck the fascists.
Fuck them.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Where can people find you, RD? If anywhere.
Yeah.
If you don't have anything to plug, fully fine.
Mm-hmm. I don't.
The only place you can find me is where I want to be found is probably Discord. And if any artist listens to this and they want to contact me about, hey, I find this character sick, can you tell me more about them so I can draw them or anything like that? Contact me over Discord. You can find me on the Check Out This Guy Discord or on the Anime Sickos Discord. That's the places where I'm usually am.
Yeah.
And it's also RD there.
Yeah, all three of us are doing the handshake meme right now, where it's no social media, only Discord. Just talk to me there.
Yes. This is the way.
Speaking of, Spike, where can people find you?
Same freaking place. Although, you're probably only gonna, reliably find me on Check Out This Guy Discord. But, yeah, come by there to entice the audience. We got, a letters channel. So if you want to, send something in for the podcast itself, send it in there. We have a place set up for artists doing commissions. We have the Show Us Your Guys channel where you do the thing. And, we do a couple regular streaming nights. On Mondays, we watch a show. It's Toku Mondays right now, but that's gonna only last another month or two. And then there's your art streams on Friday.
Hell yeah.
And I don't know the podcast social media account names, so I'm useless.
his podcast social media is just check out this guy on Tumblr and co-host. You can find the show as part of the Noisespace.xyz network. You can go to Noisespace.xyz and find all sorts of neat shows. There's so many shows. They keep making them.
Why do they allow us to do this?
Because Morg is friends with Matt. Thank you, Matt. We love you.
Yes, thank you, Mr. GameCube.
And you can't stop the power of guys.
Exactly. Yeah, no. The guys had to find some outlet into the world. Some tube from which the sound could issue forth, you know. I also have my individual plugs. Usually I do those first, but okay. I'm Emory. You can find my Fur Affinity account, the username Space Robot. I post my gallery there. You can also find me on the podcast We Rate Queerbait, where we talk about some shit that should have been gayer in media. We explore the blurry line between homie and homo.
I can't agree with that assessment.
Most of it is already extremely fucking gay.
Yeah, it's like, how are you gonna make Atmon gayer?
Good question. They could have kissed, you know? They could have actually kissed instead of just looking like they wanted to kiss since episode 1.
I love that your first episode on a podcast is about Naruto. Like I always
Really just one of the foundational yaoi ships of the 21st century.
The sacred.
I'll trust you on that.
I'm also on an upcoming audio drama pilot. News about that forthcoming. So I think that's about everything. Our other co-hosts also have links which you can find in the show notes. But yeah, until next time, punch a fascist with your little kitty hoodie claws.
Oh yeah.
Yes. This sounds perfect. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.